All right, so now we have come to the story of the Cyclops. I know you've been waiting and you're excited. So we are on page 82 of the virtual text, the Cyclops. In the next land we found were Cyclops, giants, louts, without a law to bless them. So Odysseus is judging them. They don't have a law, they don't have a society, they're not as civilized as men. In ignorance, leaving the fruitage of the earth in mystery to the immortal gods, they neither plow nor sow by hand, nor till the ground, though grain, wild wheat, and barley grows untended, and wine grapes in clusters ripen in heaven's rain. So this is another judgment Odysseus is making. He's saying, like, they don't farm, they don't know agriculture. Even though they have this great land where they could grow all sorts of crops, they don't, and they just ignore those crops. Cyclops have no muster and no meaning, no consultation or tribal ways. So basically, they have no government, no organized society. But each one dwells in his own mountain cave, dealing out rough justice to wife and child, indifferent to what the others do. So each Cyclops just lives with their family inside their cave, and they're very abusive towards their family. They handle any kind of disagreement just with their fists. So across the bay from the island was a lush, deserted mother island. So Odysseus and his crew landed on this island and spent some time feasting on wine and wild goats and just kind of looking to where the Cyclops were. And on the third day, Odysseus is like, you know what? We're going to meet these Cyclops. We're going to see if they'll help us out or not. When the young dawn with fingertips of rose. So this is the way he's describing the sun's rise. So like when the sun rises, he's calling that pink part of the sky that spreads like the fingertips. When the young dawn with fingertips of rose came in the east, I called my men together and made a speech to them. Old shipmates, friends, the rest of you stand by. I'll make the crossing in my own ship, with my own company, and find out what the mainland natives are, for they may be wild savages and lawless, or hospitable and God-fearing men. So Odysseus is like, I'm going to go see what's new with these Cyclops. They could be, wild, lawless, mean, or they could be civilized, wonderful men. So he knows the risk he's taking. At this I went aboard and gave the word to cast off by the stern. My oarsmen followed, filling in their benches by the rowlocks, and all in line dipped oars into the gray sea. So they are rowing and their boat crossed the sea to the island where the Cyclops are. As we rowed on, nearer to the mainland, at one end of the bay we saw a cavern, yawning above the water, screened with laurel, and many rams and goats about the place, inside a sheepfold. So they see a big cave, and they see like a field where lambs and rams and goats and sheep and all of those types of things are. Made from slabs of stone, earth fast between tall trunks of pine and rugged towering oaks. A prodigious man slept in this cave alone, and took his flocks to graze a field, remote from all companions, knowing none but savage ways, a brute so huge he seemed no man at all of those who eat good wheaten bread. So he's such a big man, he doesn't seem to be like a normal man who eats bread. But he seemed rather a shaggy mountain, reared in solitude. So Odysseus realized as he approaches this man is a solitary man. He wants to be by himself. He's huge, yet Odysseus still takes his men to approach him. We beached there, and I told the crew to stand by and keep watch over the ship. As for myself, I took my 12 best fighters and went ahead. So we have Odysseus, 12 other men. We have 13 men approaching this cavern. I had a goat skin full of that sweet liquor that Euanthes' son, Merone, had given me. Told you to remember that magic wine. So he takes his 12 best men, and he takes a goat skin because this is way back. They didn't have cups or bottles or anything. So it's like literally a bag made out of goat skin filled with that wine. He kept Apollo's holy grove at Ismarus. For kindness we showed him there, and showed his wife and child. He gave me 7 shining golden talents, perfectly formed, a solid silver wine bowl, and then this liquor, 12 two-handled jars of brandy, pure and fiery. Not a slave in Merone's household knew this drink. Only he and his wife and the storeroom mistress knew, and they would put 1 cupful ruby colored, honey smooth, and 20 more of water. So he's saying this is special secret wine, and it's so strong that you just put a little bit in water. But still the sweet scent hovered like a fume over the wine bowl. No man turned away when cups of this came round. So this is magic, strong wine. Everyone wants it. A wineskin full I brought along, and victuals in a bag, food. For in my bones I knew some towering brute would be upon us soon, all outward power, a wild man, ignorant of civility. So he's saying he knows the Cyclops is going to be aggressive and angry and inhospitable. We climbed then briskly to the cave, but Cyclops had gone afield to pasture his sheep. So we looked round at everything inside. So he goes into the Cyclops cave. The Cyclops isn't there. He's out in the field with his sheep. He goes into his cave. Now, he has said repeatedly, he knows that this is a giant solitary mountain of a man who's not going to be nice to him, but they go in his cave anyway. So he looked round at everything inside. A drying rack that sagged with cheeses, pens crowded with lambs and kids, each in its class, firstlings apart from middlings, and the dewdrops are newborn lambkins penned apart from both. So he's organized his animals by age. And vessels full of whey were brimming there. Whey is a type of milk. It's like it's a dairy type drink thing. And bowls of earthenware and pails for milking. My men came pressing round me, pleading, why not take these cheeses, get them stowed, come back, throw open the pens, and make a run for it. We'll drive the kids and lambs aboard. We say, put out again on good water. So the men are like, Odysseus, what are you doing? Let's steal all this stuff and run away. Come on. Ah, how sound that was. Yet I refused. I wished to see the cavemen. What he had to offer. No pretty sight, it turned out, for my friends. So Odysseus admits that, his shipmates were right, but he says, no, we're going to wait. I want to see what this man who owns this cave has in store. So they're still in the cave. We lit a fire in the cave, burnt an offering in the cave, and took some cheese to eat, then sat in silence around the embers waiting. So they're sitting in the Cyclops cave, eating around a fire, waiting for him to come back. Now, just for a second, imagine you're the Cyclops, and you're about to come home from a hard day with your sheep, and there are a whole bunch of men in your house helping themselves to your food. How are you going to feel? When he came, he had a load of dry boughs on his shoulder to stoke his fire at supper time. So he's got a bunch of branches for his fire. He dumped it with a great crash into that hollow cave, and we all scattered fast to the far wall. Then, over the broad cavern floor, he ushered the ewes he meant to milk. So he's going to do his chores. He's going to milk his ewes. He left his rams and he-goats in the yard outside and swung high overhead a slab of solid rock to close the cave. Now, this is important. Not only are they in the Cyclops cave, but the door is a huge slab of rock. 24 four-wheeled wagons with heaving wagon teams could not have stirred the tonnage of that rock from where he wedged it over the doorsill. 24 four-wheeled wagons, 24 wagons, each with a team of horses or donkeys or whatever. They could not have moved that rock. So now Odysseus and his men are trapped in this cave. The door's a rock that they cannot move. Next, he took his seat and milked his bleeding ewes. A practice job he made of it, giving each ewe her suckling, thickened his milk, then into curds and whey, sieved out the curds to drip in withy baskets, and poured the whey to stand in bowls, cooling until he drank it for his supper. So he's just doing his chores, milking, doing milk stuff. When all the chores were done, he poked the fire, heaping on brushwood. In the glare, he saw us. And we're going to stop to keep you in suspense.